My name is Wes Hoblet. I'm with Master Plan. I'm our managing director of our Fort Worth office, and we kind of handle zoning cases, land use, permitting, all that good stuff. And so we're here today to talk about this Blue Springs is the project, and we are looking to locate here in Fort Worth in your neighborhood. So we just want to talk to you guys about the use and answer any questions you guys have. And here's the site for reference: Blue Mountain Road, obviously running north-south, Bailey Boswell, and we are situated right just south of the nursery that exists there today, and a little bit further north of some of these residential developments, and then just south of you guys at Chisholm Ridge. So this is our request is for e-zoning, which is neighborhood commercial, that allows restaurants, I think funeral homes, a lot of different various uses, but all typically friendly to neighborhoods, not drive-throughs, anything like that, liquor stores that have more intensive uses. So we are requesting, our parcel is all in black. It's a very large piece of property that we're looking at purchasing, but our request in front of City Council is just the portion outlined in E. So all that we're asking for is e-zoning, which allows the spa and wellness center. So that's really the main goal of what we're trying to do. Later on, we're likely gonna come back and ask for different things, but right now to the south, the R1 zoning and the A5, we're gonna leave that as amenity space. That's the whole intent, is it's a spa. We wanna have people walking around, enjoying the trees and the creek and everything like that. And to the north, there's a little bit of E that already exists, and then A5, that might be developed in the future, 2-3 years away. We don't really know right now. Our main goal is just kind of get the spa approved, and then we'll figure that out later, and we'll meet with you if we come back for anything else, obviously, of course. And right now, just for reference, what we're requesting is the E, and that little E over there that's kind of that black line, that is already E right now. That's in a PD, it's PD 738. That allows E as the base zoning, so that's already zoned E. We're just taking it out of a PD and just making it straight E. I think it allowed E and then the nursery use, right?
Yeah, nursery.
Correct, yes. So, next slide. So here's kind of a blowout of the larger area as a whole. Obviously, you guys have quite a lot of single-family residential in this area. And from what I've heard over the last couple months and years is you want retail and something different besides single family. And so that's what we are. We are intending to have a spa here. We want to be good neighbors. We want you guys to be our customers. We want people to come and be able to attend the spa, make an appointment. You come on a Saturday or a weekday. I think we're going to be open in the evenings as well, so you can come after work even, which that sounds great to me, going to the spa after work. So that this is kind of the area, so you can get a better idea of kind of where we're looking at. So generally speaking, this is what we're asking for. This is what we are and what we do. It's it's a Nordic Spa, which I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. It's not just going to the spa and it's all just massages. That is available here, but really it's the dipping into hot and cold pools is kind of the main focus, and having the temperature changes, which is good for your immune system. It's just really good and for overall wellness, and they do very, very well in Canada and Norway, Sweden, Finland, all the colder areas of the world. They love these things. It's like they have these on every corner, allegedly, so I hear. I have not been there, but I would expect, I know that there's a lot of saunas that they have in those countries, but our plan is, of course, to get this approved, and then we're gonna go through all of the other aspects of this, the site plan. We're gonna have a formal site plan. Right now we're all conceptual just because we have a lot of engineering to do on this property, and so we're kind of waiting till we see we can actually do this, and then we're going to put a lot more capital into the engineering to say, hey, this is our final layout, this is what we're moving forward with, and this is what we want here. So and those are some examples of kind of the idea of the spa. These aren't exact photos of spas that are existing right now, but this is like all the kind of concept photos that we're looking to implement here. So and then the commercial uses. So obviously the spa is commercial in nature, where you go and you pay money for massages or getting the spa, but also, food and beverage is an option. I think we're gonna have 3 retail options there as far as restaurants go, kind of a quick serve thing. If you're at the spa, just go get sandwiches, fruits, whatever it might be, really quickly. Something more formal if you're there all day and you wanna have like a nice dinner after the fact, and it's, salmon, something healthy, all kind of health focused, obviously. A lot of mocktails is kind of the thing that we're promoting as well. We don't have to have heavy alcohol consumption or a full bar, where it's kind of, we will be offering alcohol, but that's not, we're a health and wellness center. I think it's like 1 glass of white wine, maybe something like that, something easy. Our intent is, as I, mentioned to you earlier, is we want to keep the environment as it is. That's kind of part of our amenity, is we're not looking to completely raise every tree, develop it all up, and just have this big building and it's just a spa. We're building on what is developable, and then we're leaving the floodplain and floodway open and accessible. So our intent is to leave that open, not really impacting the trees, keep as many of them as we can, which I think is almost all of them. I don't think we're getting rid of really any trees based on the plans that I've seen. And that small portion is what we're trying to develop. So obviously this is a future A5 development. I think it's MI Homes, if I'm not mistaken, and that's being graded right now. But right now nothing's being built right now. We were out inside a couple weeks ago, and it's just open right now. But all of that in blue is the floodplain, floodway. So that is, you can't just put a structure there by state, federal, city restrictions. You just can't go and build anything you want there. There's a lot of permissions, I guess you could say, you have to get from a lot of different entities, all the way up to the top of federal, especially since it's a FEMA floodplain. So we're not going to develop any of that. That's our intent, is for people to walk and enjoy this space as it is today, open, maybe add some trails, park benches, things like that. Nothing that's going to be, more homes or more structures specifically near these existing residential homes.
Yeah, and one more thing about the floodway and floodplain, as he was saying, it's very expensive to develop in the floodway. It takes a lot of civil engineering. There's a lot of different processes you have to go through. There's city, state, and federal. With FEMA, you have to change the LOMAR, you have to submit all these different map revisions for the floodplain, floodway, prove that whatever you do won't change it. Then after all the construction is done, you have to go back through the process to submit amended maps, showing that what you've done is correct and true. Once again, very costly. We'd rather put that cost into the spa. And we'd rather use the floodplain, floodway, the trees, the existing vegetation as part of our ambiance as we come into the site. We want most of the traffic to come through it. I mean, it's beautiful out there, it's gorgeous out there. If any of you want to come take a tour right now, what it looks like, please, we're more than happy to meet you on site and show you this land. But yeah, we want to touch the floodplain and floodway as little as possible, because it takes incredibly much time. This is a zoomed in version of our concept plan, showing the layout of what we're proposing to do. Once again, once this gets approved in zoning, that's when we're going to start turning the wheels more. That's when we're going to start putting more capital into the civil plans, civil engineering, the engineering plans, to figure out how we can make that work, how can we not impact the floodplain, floodway, how we can make this a beneficial development.
And just, those are all kind of like the pools that they're planning on having, the dipping pools. So it's mostly, there's going to be 2 larger buildings, but for the most part, it's open. We want it to be open. It's not all going to be in a building. It's going to be mostly that kind of blend of outside, inside.
And no offense when I say this, we're trying to keep as much vegetation, trees there as possible. The more mature trees that we can keep, the more we save, the better it looks. You don't have to wait all that time for these trees to grow. We are putting in additional trees on our eastern property line. As you can see, we want additional buffering there. We kind of want, when you go to this place, we want you kind of be an oasis away from the hustle and bustle, the noise that's all around us. We want this to be its own oasis away from everything. So we want to be buffered from the residential. We want to be secluded away and kind of tucked away and not really seen. So yes.
It's great that you say you're buffering from the residential and everything, but around here there is a lot of wildlife. How are you going to protect the people there from the snakes and the coyotes and the raccoons and the possums that are all in this area?
It's just like today. I mean, if you have your own individual homes, what do you do to protect your family? There's certain things that we can do, but once again, we want to limit how much we do, because once we start impacting that floodplain, floodway, this development, it's going to push those animals somewhere else. We don't mind them being on the property. Of course, we're going to put safety measures for our guests. That is a number one concern. There'll be employees walk around, but that's really hard because we're trying not to touch the environment as much as possible. But within our best interest, we're not going to. I mean, we don't want to call it an unsafe place, right? So we really haven't looked at that too in depth. Like, what are we going to do if we see this? I mean, their goal is not to kill off all the animals and snakes. I mean,
no.
Right? And so
there's a coyote den, we probably ask them to move along.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the whole point of the development. I mean, it's going to have a lot less impact on the surrounding homes because we're trying to preserve as much natural landscape as possible. So hopefully the development doesn't put, because when these single family homes go in, it pushes everything away. All those animals go find new habitat, and so you should see some critters there. I'm not gonna,
Oh, yeah,
it's
we
Texas.
have critters.
It's Texas. I'm sure you'll see some things here and there, but they'll have measures in place to help.
Yeah, we have some possum that visit us every night.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
see,
we actually named our possum.
Oh, yeah.
We see him a lot. So.
This is
A more zoomed in version, kind of going off what Trent was saying. It's going to be as buffered as we can. Obviously we're working with a limited amount of space that's out of the floodplain, floodway, and the exit. I know this was a concern at zoning commission, was that connector road. That's an emergency. We're going to have, very likely, I think we're going to have a gate there. That's not going to be an entrance we want people going through. All the entrance is going to come off of Blue Mound. That's a requirement from the city of Fort Worth for fire safety. You have to have two. And so obviously when, Bailey Boswell gets built out and then we finish the development up there, that's going to be likely another entrance. But for right now, what we're proposing, we need to show this as, hey, we have to have life safety issues, all that sort of stuff you guys are very aware of. You just have to have it. And so their roads will dead in there, but that's only going to be used in case the worst case scenario happens. There's fire or something horrible. Everyone's going to come in off of Blue Mountain. That's the main. We want people to, when they drive in as well, to see, oh wow, there's the creek, there's the trees. You want to get that feeling of getting into a spa when you're going there. You don't want to be driving through a single family neighborhood and then, oh wow, I'm at the spa. Like that's not, it's all the process from the entering the property to being at the spa is, we want it to be positive through and through. So we're not going to have people going through the neighborhood and into this development that we have versus going through the creek and seeing all the trees and everything that we have set up in the walking trails, whatever we're proposing.
Yeah, because I know that's one of the resident concerns, like Las Ventanas has raised that,
Sure.
We know about their arguments. And so it needs to be something that will, of course, limit access from the residential side,
Sure.
especially kids,
Right.
wanting
Yeah.
to explore. These
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
want little Jimmy on his bike riding around the spa area.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
we have our
I
concern.
believe, we're talking about having a gate there. I don't know for sure, but we don't. That's not our intent to have people just kind of meander in and ride their bikes, or people going like, oh, I think I can get this way. I don't want to sit through that
So-
traffic. It's like we're going to push you to
Yeah.
go through.
We're
that.
going to do whatever we can within the fire code to help protect it, because once again, we don't want
Yeah.
little Jimmy and his friends riding down there and exploring. I mean, we don't want the random guests to go through. I mean, that's not what we want. We want them to come through Blue Mound, and that's when the experience starts happening.
And you go up a hill too when you get on the property, because obviously it's in a floodway, it's low, and so when you're driving on, then you kind of rise a little bit, and then you're like, we're at the top of the hill. So it's kind of that experience of like you're driving up, and then you're like, okay, like I'm here, and then you can't really see anything. Also, when you're up there, it's like you're away. Like it feels like you can't. Like when we were there, I couldn't even really see the homes like at all, any of the homes in any
just see
direction because of
some-
all the trees.
Yeah,
There's so
you
many
see
trees on the
trees.
property. But this is kind of the concept is previously stated, conceptual. This is all stuff that we are modeling off of. These kind of places do exist in the world, and so we want this type of experience of these cooling pools, people to relax, sit on the side of the pool, sit in there for a minute, get out, dry themselves off, go to the next pool, all that kind of stuff. But this is kind of the idea that we're proposing. Same here, the spas, hot pools, lots of landscaping, obviously. So at night, we want to talk about how it's going to operate at night, because the hours, if I'm not mistaken, are 10 to 10. So it's going to be in the morning, 10 a.m. So we're not going to, interfere with any morning traffic, and our intent is not to interfere with any afternoon traffic as well. And talking with the developers, and they can emphasize this more. Their prime times they said it was during primetime TV, right? Because it's like, so right around 6, 7 o'clock is when they do see people wanting to go to the spa after work, having relaxing time at the spa. But then, they clear out in an hour, 2 hours. They shut down at 10, and so that gives people time if they want to have dinner, if they want to, hang around a little bit, take a shower before they head home in the, nice soaps and saunas and everything like that. And then the lighting too, we don't want to be. We're not a stadium. We're not going to have lights way up tall. And in my neighborhood where I live, if I walk a couple streets over, I can even see the high school that's about like a mile away, and their lights. That's not what we're looking for. Our lights are all bollard lighting, downward facing. We want to have that, you're out, you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. That's what we want. We want the feeling of, we don't want all these lights shining down on you like in a parking lot of, Target or Lowe's or anything like that. It's all very low, subtle lighting, enough walkway lighting so you can see where you're going, but we're not having any aggressive lights by any means. And, you know, the lighting changes. I think we're gonna have like, you know, low lights. I'm assuming probably LEDs for, you know, safety reasons.
Yeah, I mean, they're designed to have the least amount of light pollution possible. We want a little bit, because once again, we want to experience as if you're in nature rather than downtown Dallas.
I'll be in.
Yeah, that's yeah, we'd like you to come up here and help present with us.
Yeah,
That's
the
perfect
ambiance.
wording.
And so these are the food options, and like I said before, it's the quick, you know, the coffee house, just the quick. I'm gonna grab a little wrap or sandwich or, you know, coffee to go, juice, be on my way, or I'm gonna, you know, go to the bistro. It's like a quick kind of lunch spot, and then the dinner location is kind of a more formal seating where, you know, you can go and have dinner and have like a plated meal that's a little bit more formal.
You had a question.
Yeah. Do you have this kind of spa in this area anywhere?
No.
This will be the first in Texas.
Yes.
The first one in the US?
In Texas.
In Texas. So they're developing a couple sites right now. They're looking to develop, like, I believe it's Utah, I want to say.
2 in Utah.
New York, New Jersey. They're
Colorado.
kind of all over Colorado. They're all over the place. But this is the first one that they're looking at in Texas. They're also kind of exploring hill country, and I think Frisco might be. But this would be the first one that they open, and they're focusing a lot of their time on this one because it's such a great site and has so much to offer other than, you know, Frisco, for instance. It's a little tighter.
Do you have anyone that, as a spa competitor, like who you would see as a spa competitor? Like
They
Kenny
do.
Ranch maybe, or?
They do, I just don't know their names. I know there are some, there's like 1 or 2 competitors,
It's like these.
but it's like very few. It's a very niche market.
Daniel?
So another thing that
Hold-
came up.
we're going to verify with them.
You can take the mic to the speaker.
Oh, hold on. Can you say that again?
The Aries Spa in New York and Chicago.
That would be one that's similar. It's not the same, but it's similar.
What
And
is
the
it
second
called?
one
Keep it
is
again.
called
Aries.
Nordic, and this one's in
Aries,
Quebec
okay.
and in Ontario. That's a better comparison. And the third would be called Scandinave, also in Ontario and British Columbia and Quebec as well. So those are a couple comparable.
Yeah, so a few competitors, but not any locally, I guess.
So then you also said cooling pools. This
Yes.
is Texas.
Yeah, it's hot.
In July, if the pools are gonna be 95 degrees, easy. How do you keep them cool?
Daniel, that's a technical question. How do we keep the cool pools cool
If
in
you can keep
Texas?
them cool, you will have business, I
Yeah,
can
that's already
guarantee.
part of our mechanical engineering design. So
That's part of their
yeah,
mechanical
that's a
engineering design.
process
It's-
that we work through in our design stage.
Yeah, because they're aware of the challenges. You know, obviously it gets 110, 117 in my car. Last time I took a photo, I saw that the other day. Yeah, we're gonna be able to make sure that they're cool. Because I mean, if you're getting in, you know, I understand. I get into a pool in the summer and you want it to be cool, and it feels like it's a hot tub. That's not
Well,
enjoyable.
everyone sells it as a cooling pool, well, a cooling pool.
It needs to be cool. Yes, correct.
90 degrees is still less than 110.
That's true.
But it's
That's a good
not
point.
what you.
Yes.
it's
Not
cooling.
refreshing.
Yes, cool.
No,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
sure that's the whole point. That's why they'll make it refreshing and cool enough.
Correct. Yeah, that's yeah.
I wish I was a
that's the
mechanical engineer to be able to explain it, but I'm definitely.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
It
that.
sets this
aspect
all
of
up to be a year-round operation, it's not
Correct.
seasonal.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to close our doors in July.
We got a question right here.
I was gonna ask that, but also about wintertime.
Same thing. We'll have the cool pools. I mean, all the pools are going to be regulated in different ways. It's all dealing with their engineering, how it's done. I don't have the mechanicals of how it would work, the details, but they have a way to keep the pools that have to be warm, and the ones that cool all year round.
Yeah. I thought we had a photo in there of kind of showing. It's not it's technical, but it's more of a show for
Tony has a question.
Yeah.
So related to this, what kind of capacity are you looking at in the restaurant area, in the bistro, whatever you want to call it?
The restaurant's going to be so minimal compared to everything else in the spa. Do you have Matt? Do you have a estimate of how large the restaurant will be? The
Cafe?
bistro.
Oh,
That's
bistro,
what
so
bistro. Yeah, I think that's the word.
So many ways you got, yeah, bistros?
You can estimate it's between 2,500 and 5,000 square feet with a focus on servicing the existing guests as an amenity.
So 2,500 to 5,000 square feet. It's mostly designed to
Is that for all the
serve
restaurants?
the
or just
guests
for
on
the
site.
bistro?
And how late will the
Yes.
restaurant operate? How late in the day, because it's.
I believe it's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, well, the restaurant too?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe it's.
Grab and go, the cafe is a
Yeah,
cafe.
I'm okay with that for late night taste.
Okay.
And your hours for the restaurant's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Right?
Truthfully, I don't know the hours of the restaurant yet. I mean, we're still preliminary in the plans, so I can't quote exactly.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
sure
So
about-
yeah, the what we were just at. I was trying to.
I would
see
assume it's
plans.
close to what the hours of the spa are.
But the coffee house is just coffee. You know, it's like a couple tables, like a bistro. You see like 3 or 4 tables, like very quick coffee, and then the coffee house is like just grab a coffee, and then the bistro is, you know, no seating, it's a grab and go, and then the other one is the 2,500 to 5,000 square feet restaurant.
And what's the planned parking capacity then for all this?
I mean, we'd meet code. We'd have to meet code, so it'd be, you know, the spa. I don't know what the spa parking is. I would guess it's probably 1 to 200.
1 to 200 or 1 to 300.
Yeah, and then restaurants are 1 to 100, so we need 25 to 50 spaces for the restaurant, and then, you know, the cafe, same deal. It'd be, you know, we're going to meet code. We have
And
to.
that's good, and that's smart too, because a lot of developers have been coming to the city requesting for fewer parking spaces to
Right.
be allowed, and for
Yes.
exceptions.
No, and we're not asking for any variances or special exceptions. We're planning to meet the code. So yeah, I mean, whatever the code
Yeah.
requires,
Yeah.
hence
We
we have to do
don't-
the fire lane.
And we don't want people to show up and then there's no parking. You know?
Yeah,
It's
because
not
then they
a-
start thinking they can park in the residential areas,
Right.
Correct, yeah, and that's,
or in your driveway coming up.
Right, and
Sure,
we'll
yeah.
prevent that for fire and safety.
yes, yeah, and then and also, you know, somebody mentioned before too is, you know, this is appointment only. You know, you're not just going to show up. I've never had the inclination of driving by, you know, a spa and saying, I want to go to a spa right now and get a massage. You know, you kind of pre-plan. You know, you want to, I'm going to go this Saturday. I'm going to go after work on Thursday, whatever it may be. So it's, you know, they design their buildings for peak capacity. So like the massive they can do, but obviously they're very, very likely never going to reach that. I would be surprised if they did.
What is
So-
your capacity in order to maintain the serenity feeling?
Right now we don't have those numbers because we haven't done the full planning.
Oh, okay.
And that's one thing that we have. We don't want to be, you know, a Walmart on Black Friday, of course, because you do want the
If you want
ambiance.
serenity, you don't
Right.
care.
So they have that all in their formulas of how they design it. It's going to be based off of how many pools they have, what the design, the layout is, but that is definitely within their playbook. You want to be cautious of how large they make it, how small they make it, so you don't have this overcrowding, people waiting.
Yeah.
Right.
So
There is a social component as well. You know, it's like they want people to kind of interact, or you can go with a couple friends and, you know, have a good time. Like, it's not like you just go and they're put in like the one massage room, your massage is done, go to this room and then get dressed and get out of here. You know, it's like walk around, you know, like you can talk to people and, you know, sit down and have your coffee or have your, you know, tea, whatever it might be. Like it's a kind of, you know, it's not like a party vibe, but it's definitely like we want you to, you know, talk to people, and it's, you know, it's social. That's the kind of the whole basis for the use.
So when they were going through this process, when they were going through this process, you know, we chose E neighborhood zoning, and we did that for a reason. So with zoning, you have different types of districts that allow for more intense uses. Half the property in that PD that we talked about earlier, the planned development district, the base zoning was already E, neighborhood commercial. The difference between what we're asking now and what's in the PD is the PD allowed for one additional use, which was that tree nursery, the nursery for the trees.
We would have asked for the west zoning if it allowed a spa.
Right.
But E is the one, the least impactful zoning that allows for a spa. So that's why we.
And also, it's consistent with the area. We already have E zoning on other portions of the property. Just abutting this to the west, there's E zoning. So we want to be consistent. We didn't want to ask for something that was way out in left field that would have a huge impact on the surrounding neighborhood. So we were very cautious about what district we chose.
And one of the things that I learned is that e-zoning, because there's e-zoning and ER, which is the more restrictive. And so being that they're gonna have food service, possibly with some beer and wine options for the restaurant, because you're not gonna be selling for people to take home.
No.
I wouldn't think you'd want to drive all the way up there to grab a sandwich and then, you know, maybe, but.
But it allows for that, and because otherwise alcohol sales would be prohibited and a few other functions. So you couldn't have the restaurant, for example, in
Correct.
ER, right? So that's why. The concern though is going to be this, because we've had scenarios locally, and I mentioned this before, that we had a rezoning to the east of Chisholm Ridge, you know, right at the end of Harmon there, and it was supposed to be a development of shops, restaurants, office space, and all that. Now it's a bunch of warehouses because he got the zoning he wanted, the rezoning he wanted, and now he said, "Hey, by right, I can put up warehouses." Now I changed my mind. So, are they willing to possibly, because set up a spa? Beautiful. I think we all, you know, would want to maintain that for a long time and have it kind of forever be, you know, a nice, beautiful area. Would they be open to establishing possibly a deed restriction saying that, you know, on this parcel with this zoning, it should always ever only be a certain kind of place? Because e-zoning also allows for banks, restaurants, gasoline sales, alcohol sales for off-premise liquor store could go in there.
So we don't want to limit ourselves, to be honest with you. You know, adding more restrictions isn't what we want to do. That kind of encumbers the property just for us financially. But if you look at the property as this, I can tell you with 100% certainty, there will never be a 7-Eleven that goes there because they don't want to build a $2 million bridge to a 7-Eleven. That's the kind of thing you're going to have to say, okay, do you want to put a Starbucks over here? Great. Build this $2 million bridge and go through all these processes to do it. Then you can have your Starbucks. They're not going to pay that.
Right.
This land is all collectively being sold for $6 million. They will not pay that. So they are going to go in here, purchase this property and develop this. I don't know how much the investment is of the buildings, everything like that, but I imagine it's very high in the millions. So they're not intent. So say, let's just hypothetically, we have zoning, we get our zoning, it's E. So E zoning, it allows for all the things you just stated. We decide, you know what, we don't want this property, we're out of here. So it's zoned E. It will remain E. Someone will likely come back and make it A5, if I had to guess, because it's not worth the cost to develop a 7-Eleven, a liquor store, anything like that. They will find another site. I can promise you that.
Right.
We've been doing this for a long time, and it's
In order to develop, like I said, developing the floodplain and floodway and the cost of going through that, the time and cost. I mean, if they do A5 in here, I mean, you're going to get those costs. They're going to have to eat those costs somewhere.
Yeah.
Those costs are going to have to be subsidized somewhere in the development. And so like Wes said, you're not going to have a Starbucks that comes in and pay for a $2 million bridge to be built within the floodplain or floodway. They're not going to pay, $2 million plus to build out of the floodway on the front of the property. I mean, there's a lot of costs involved. And that's why they actually choose these types of properties. They want the more difficult properties, the more unique properties for these reasons, because it really forces certain types of developments to occur.
Well, there's another option though, they could go in height,
They could go up.
they could go up. So we have
Sure.
that same problem right at the corner next to Creekwood. There's a large portion of it is a floodplain, and you can't develop it. So Walmart was supposed to be in there, gone. Other stuff was supposed to be in there, gone. The only thing that really makes sense, because there is such a large floodplain, is to really go up in height.
townhomes, multifamily.
Well, no.
Higher.
No, we're talking about office buildings,
Oh,
those
okay.
types of storage
Sure.
building potentially, but
Sure.
high.
Fight against that, so.
And that
Right.
really doesn't
Storage
fit
is
in
not what
our
we're thinking.
neighborhood.
Right,
You know,
and those uses that you're mentioning, an office building, going that many stories in this area, still that's going to be a lot of money to be able to, because they're going to have a lot more parking than what we're going to be required to do.
Isn't E capped at 35 feet?
I believe, I
Yeah.
believe the height is like 35
Which
to 45 feet.
We're not
and
even going to
that's
build
the
that
height.
high. We're not going to build that high.
Yes, I mean,
Well, not
E is capped off at 45 feet.
45.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're not even with new.
ER is
yeah, and we
Yeah,
have no
35,
desire to
that's
go
right.
taller than that. We have a silo. I think the silo is probably 35 feet ish.
Yeah, that's on the property now, and we just want to keep it as an amenity. It's like it's been there. I think it was an old grain silo that's been there
Yeah.
since I don't know,
They're
100
going to
years
try.
old.
They want to try to keep that as part of. That might be one of the tallest structures on the site.
Yeah, I would think that'd be the tallest thing.
But it's been
So
there.
what is the
Yeah.
price range that you were looking at with this?
To develop
To
it.
be to be profitable, for somebody to be a member,
Oh.
I assume you're
That's
basing it
Daniel.
on a
Yeah.
membership fee.
That's
you're
out of my
basing it
wheelhouse.
on-
Let me see if they know.
Daniel,
And
do you
our
have a
clients,
cost
they're
estimate
they're in.
for
Because
a
I'm surprised,
visit
we
to
have
the-
other areas in this
Yeah.
So-
vicinity, not right here, that are much higher income.
The average.
So I'm a little bit surprised. at
So we're trying to make this a destination place. We want this to be a destination place, a place for people to come. We're looking for very unique
Okay.
features, and the floodplain is what caught our eye. The floodplain and flood features is what caught our eye, honestly.
$100 to $200 is the average cost to go, and they say you can add on the extra stuff, whatever you want. Obviously, if you eat, that's going to add food cost to it, but the average is $100 to $200 per person to visit. So.
Yeah, I grew up in California near Napa, and if you know Calistoga, you'll spend more there than you would.
Yeah, I did my wife and I did our baby moon in Phoenix, and I think it was $350 and that was just a massage. It wasn't even any spas, pools, saunas, anything like that, and it was in a hotel. So it was.
Is that per visit or?
Yes, yeah, on an average visit, you'll spend $100 to $200.
So let's put it this way: the type of clientele that they would attract, we're okay with.
Yeah, it's not $35, like on Harry Hines in Dallas. Ain't that? No, we're not Harry Hines spa at all.
And there's a reason this hasn't been developed. I mean, the floodplain and floodway is a major reason why it's so difficult to develop. And once again, if they were to develop the A5, they're going to pack as much density in there to cover the cost of developing out of the floodplain and floodway.
Yeah.
So if they were to keep this A5 residential on it, they're going to try to pack as many houses as they can to help subsidize that cost, help recover that cost from all the work of having to deal with the floodplain and floodway.
Yeah, because if somebody was to come in, like the only thing that I could see, and we've both been doing this a long time, is somebody comes in and they're like, I'm gonna just stuff this full of A5 homes, and then I'm gonna like push the cost on the new residents. Like that would be the only. I mean, I couldn't see. I was explaining to you before we did a project, and
Cheap materials.
yeah, and it was there was a hard corner on Marine Creek and 820, and it was a self-storage developer that wanted to develop the property. And it had a creek running through it. And so the neighbors were like, well, we'd like, a Starbucks. And we're like, it's going to be $2 million. And it was far less than this. $2 million to get that remedied so you can develop the property. And we're like, Starbucks will go right down the street and pick a flat piece of land and develop that way. They're wanted. They're self-storage. They'll take the bad sites. They'll take like the messed up ones that have weird shapes and everything like that. But like, Starbucks, they are very much wanted. And so is, all these 7-Elevens, they take the path of least resistance. This is by far not the path of least resistance.
And
for
real
all these
quick,
guys.
it has nothing to do with, we've been working with the different HOAs in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, a lot of thanks to Tony, to Jason, to Evie, they've ran us through the mill. They've made sure to really speak on behalf of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to make sure that was publicly known. They were definitely not a yes person. It was, I've been talking to Tony, and immediately he's like, we gotta get a neighborhood meeting.
Yeah.
And so we set one up for the week, for spring break week, right?
Yeah, tough week.
We actually had
Tough
15
week.
people show up.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we did.
Online, and then he's like, we need to set up another one. And so
Yeah.
we work with the HOA, Jason as well, Jason Baldwin with
Ventanas.
For some reason I can't say that. He's been great. He's been speaking on behalf of his HOA as well, and Evie with
West Fork Ranch.
West Fork
Yes,
Ranch.
Ranch, that's right.
I mean,
You guys got a lot up here. You guys got quite a bit.
I'll just say this about the HOA president, the HOA, they really do have the interests of the neighborhood at heart, and I just want to make sure you know that they are not making this easy, but it's a great thing that they're doing
Yeah,
it.
we want to,
So-
and you're our customers. This is we don't want to just throw ourselves in your neighborhood and say like, see you guys later. We're focused on people downtown coming up.
Yeah,
here.
we-
That's
we
like,
We're
want-
gonna be your neighbors too.
yeah, we're gonna be your neighbors
Yeah,
and your
yes.
customers. Like we don't want to be, we're not gonna have trash on the property. We're not gonna, it's the same thing as if 7-Eleven. It's like they're going to your neighborhood. You're like, we want to keep it nice. We want you to buy gas from us, buy big gulp hot dog, whatever it is. We're not that at all, but same
So,
idea.
yeah,
We're not.
They've
we're
been
not,
doing their job really well.
Well,
Yes.
here's a little bit of the problem that we are dealing with, and I've been very involved in making that. I spoke to Matt Dixon before. He
Yeah.
reached out to me, I think in September.
Okay, perfect.
I'm on the board in Creekwood.
Okay.
So the biggest issue that I see is really, we've had a lot of developers come to us with a lot of options, and some of them sound absolutely fantastic, and they sound like we really want to support them, we're standing behind them, we're supporting them, and then either they pull out and something else goes in, or it turns into a huge debacle with the city.
Sure.
So that's the kind of thing where a little bit of skepticism comes in. Personally, I think this is awesome.
Right.
Especially in the wintertime, if you can have it heated, and in the summertime
Yeah.
cooled, I'll pay the $200.
Sure.
okay?
No, me too. I don't have a pool. So.
And we know what you're saying. I mean, I have worked on the public side for many years. That's how I started off my career. I've been in San Antonio, Kerrville, Midlothian. I mean, I've worked all across Texas. I've done a lot of projects all across the United States. I know what you're talking about. It does happen.
And it's happened a lot up here.
It happens a lot here
we've
because of the
And
floodplains.
Yes.
I've had many projects where I've been told over and over, we don't want any more single-family residential. We don't want any more single-family residential. And we finally have someone coming in that doesn't want to do single-family residential, but they want to do something that's low impactful. And they're a great developer, great team. We were asked to do a 30-day continuance to have another neighborhood meeting.
We're happy to do
And I'll be honest, I was like, how beneficial will this be? But they were right away. They were like, let's have this. This is important because they will be our clients, and so they do care. So I think no one has a crystal ball, but I think with the limitations on this site compared to other sites, you're gonna have to have a unique development in here to get something quality, and that's what we're trying to present: is a unique, high-quality development.
And going back to what I said before, if say we get the zoning and we say no, we're not going to do that. We're very limited in the E, and if they're like, we're going to sell this land, which the owner would have to sell all of it. They'd have to sell all of this land. That's a lot of land that's undevelopable and it's still expensive. They're going to have to build that bridge to get it built. They're going to have to go through all these requirements from the city, state, and federal to get 7-Eleven, liquor store, whatever it may be.
So good transition, because Rusty called and you know, sends his regrets because he couldn't make it. He had something else going on and
Sure.
he couldn't make it out in time. But he did voice the concern about how the bridge is gonna, what's your process for the bridge?
So-
What are you guys looking at? Because I know you have to do all sorts
Sure.
of studies and.
Yeah,
Yes,
so-
and we've
samples
already,
all sorts of-
and we've already, you know, we started talking with them back in, I guess it was last September. So I'm talking a long time, and I was talking with their engineer. I want to say that the cost of the engineering that they've done thus far has been about $200,000 to $300,000 to see if it's even possible.
Yeah, right.
Because, you know, they're not going to purchase or have this under LOI to be developed if it's not possible. So it is possible. They got the engineering reports like, we can develop this and it's not going to be impactful to the floodplain floodway. But as far as the process goes, I mean, it just has to go through the ringer.
So yeah, so that whole process, build a bridge. It first goes through the city. We submit an application to the state and to FEMA.
And we're going through the most narrow part we can as well,
Yeah.
obviously. We're not going through the big part over the lake or even down here. We're trying to keep it as narrow as possible.
So it impacts the floodway and floodplain the least amount possible.
We have to make sure that it meets those requirements, or they're going to say that bridge ain't good enough. And
If you
build another
talk to
one.
the Fossil Creek nursery and what they had to do to build it out of the floodplain and floodway,
Yeah.
it was years, lots of money, and just to build to where they were up on. I mean, the floodway and floodplain changes a bit up there. It's a lot less, but just hearing what they had to go through in order to do what they want to do and how long it took them, we don't want to do that. We don't want to spend that amount. We'd rather preserve as much space possible for our development.
And get this built for you guys sooner.
Have you approached the city on this at all yet?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we went to, they filed in January, January 2nd, I think is what it was. And so they didn't go to the February zoning commission, they went to the March zoning commission. We were approved unanimously there. And then,
9-0.
yeah,
To do
nine,
what?
to
Approved for.
approve this plan. And then the next week it was, that was spring break week, I believe, that week. And then immediately, because of there was a double notice, because they were supposed to go originally in February, because it moves pretty quick in Fort Worth for the zoning. It got delayed in February because they were still working out some details with the city on the submission. Went in March, and then very quickly the next, less than a week later, went to city council, and then we requested a third day continuance at council.
Thank you.
So
No, you're welcome. And we
yes.
appreciate it. I mean, this has been great to work more with the neighborhood.
It was the only
Yeah,
idea that I
and-
could come up with, because originally we were requesting, hey, can't you wait another month for zoning? Didn't know the history, it's like we already kind of did. And I said, since council meets every couple of weeks, maybe you can at least.
Yeah,
continue
and that
to
was our
next to
concept.
zoning.
We'd have to go, if we were delayed at zoning, then we'd be going to zoning in April
Yeah,
and then
about 6, 7
council,
weeks out.
later. So it's like, we're still stopped, we're at kind of a pause right now talking with you guys, but,
So what is your timeline overall? If, let's say we are all in full support and we're running down the council's doors
So,
and say,
sure.
hey, do it. and-
April 9th is when we go to city council.
Okay.
correct.
April 10th is when they want the ball start rolling.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
they
And
want-
what is the time frame? Because you don't have it
For-
all worked
It's
out,
hard.
right?
I mean, it's hard to say how long the
Months.
federal process
Well-
will take. The FEMA, the floodplain.
I can
floodway.
help with that too,
Yeah.
because this is just the very, very first step.
I know, that's what I'm
Right,
asking.
and there's so many more departments involved, so
Correct.
they've just got to work it out, and we'll get those announcements. Anything that also needs to be changed, if there is a need for a variance.
And something to say,
Yeah.
when we come back with our official site plan, we have to come back to city council for approval.
Yeah, of being like, this is what we're asking for, hey, we got it zoned, but here's the site plan approval, and then we have to get all the FEMA stuff. I mean, they want to have shovels in the dirt by end of this year, but that's optimistic. It's going to be a lot of work. I don't know the timeline really, but it's months and months before we even start doing any sort of construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you have shovels in the
this-
dirt, if everything is approved, how long will it take to get?
It's so hard with FEMA, how long FEMA takes, the federal government takes to review Lomar's map change, the flood map change. I don't know their timelines.
So,
It can
but
change.
Can you put shovels in the ground before FEMA?
There's certain things we can and can't do.
I mean, we
Oh, I see.
could develop this because it's not in the floodplain, but
But
we
you
want
don't
to
want
make
to do
sure
that
that
yet.
this is
Yeah.
we're good with
That
this,
is
and then
right.
obviously we
Correct.
have to get equipment and things across the river. And there's a bridge that's there right now, but that is not not
It's
for
pretty,
big
but yeah,
machines.
they
very
wanna make
pretty,
sure
but
it's
it's
safe.
not for heavy machinery or even cars.
Residential.
So
Yeah. It's
we
a
have
really
to-
pretty bridge, though. It's
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a nice covered bridge, yeah.
And if you've been out to it, then please go out.
Oh, and that's another thing. You know, obviously some of the images we showed are very modern. You know, but honestly, the intent of this development, they're wanting to fit into Fort Worth. You know, like the one in Hill Country is going to be a lot of limestone. Yeah, a lot. It's going to be kind of like, I don't know if anyone's been to Bowie House, kind of down on West 7th, and you know, kind of close to downtown. But I showed that to them. I was like, this is kind of what you're looking for, right? They're like, oh yeah, this is great. You know, it's like kind of that modern-y Western feel where, you know, it's not going to be like, oh, this is just a modern building planted right here. It's going to have the look and feel of the environment that it's in.
So on that map, where do you have the parking area?
It's going to be all throughout. There's different
Yes.
areas to park. Once some of those other details aren't completely in this yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was,
So
yeah, I
against
was-
the main building would be parking.
Yeah,
on the
kind of.
sides, near the back. There would be various places to park.
Yeah.
And so are you looking to do that landscape buffer, because it looks like homes will probably be backing up too?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you go out there now, we've had this question many times, like, you guys are building all these single family homes, that's not us.
Yeah.
We want to
Yeah.
buffer ourselves from them. No offense to the future residents there, but we
Yeah.
want to seclude ourselves.
We don't want to see them. They don't want to see us.
So, I mean, yeah, we're buffering all between those homes that are coming in.
Oh,
That's
they
what
wanna
we're.
see you.
Yeah, they might. Yeah.
We're
yeah.
gonna be great
Their
for it.
serenity
It's gonna be-
is-
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
sure. And they'll have they'll have the nice trees in their backyard.
I think we measured out. I mean, it was like,
I don't even know. I
It's
mean,
quite a- it's
I
quite a-
guess, like, what sizes are even the ones that are kind of, you know,
I mean,
I
it's,
don't
it's
know.
pretty far away.
But I don't know when they're, I don't even, are they platted yet? Are they like that far
No,
along?
they're fully.
They're fully platted
It looked like they
already,
were
yeah.
grading when we were out there.
Yeah, so I guess they're ready. Yeah, I guess they're
They
platted.
had the
but
silt fences up and
Yeah.
bulldozers out there, so.
I don't know when they're gonna, because
Once
I
again,
think
that's
it's
what
it's MI Homes is the developer over there. And we've talked with them about what we're doing, and they're like, okay, yeah, no, sounds good. And so they don't, as far as I know, they didn't have any
We'll probably
problems.
increase their values.
Probably, yeah, actually, proximity, so.
Well, could help ours too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sure, yeah.
You may have touched on this before, but is this the extent of what you're gonna do, or is this?
You know, no,
This is the request, right, that we're asking for city council. So
Right.
this is the only thing that we're asking for right now, and then obviously, here, I guess we can go back and show
Is it
like
gonna
the
go
larger.
beyond the initial plan, you know? is there-
yeah, we
Yes.
don't have anything else planned though, at this point in time. We don't have anything else planned.
Yeah, so this is the entire property is in black. So very large property. I want to say is 72 acres, something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, wow.
It's very, very large. And so all of that R1, which is townhome zoning, A5 obviously 5,000 square foot lots, and then, you know, the same up there. I think on the southern portion, right now, just walking trails is kind of the intent, leave it open. To the north, I mean, we just don't know. I mean, really the main reason we're approaching this with like is we want to make sure we can do the spa. Because if we can't do the spa, then we're just saying, okay, well then we don't want to develop.
So let me say, to reach out to our residents and hoping for support, is there a way you guys can get a satellite view and just do a boundary, you know, from a satellite view map, so we can kind of see where proportionally it is, where you are in
Sure,
relation to
yeah. I think we
the
have-
Los
yeah, I think
Ventanas
we
and
have
the tree farm and
Yeah, I
anything
think
else there?
that's, yeah, further
Because
back.
it's something we can show them.
Yeah, I think it was like the second or third slide. They kind of showed the big.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, if
Yeah.
we can certainly
So-
have that image, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, like I've read this is in the paper recently, but I know Mayor Maddie Parker was, I think she has an initiative for open space. I forgot what it's called exactly. And she wants to have like 10,000 acres of open space. We would meet by our development as now, like it's 70 acres. We're developing like 6. We give her 0.1% of that, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for one development to do that, you know, it's pretty good. So.
All floodplain.
Yeah, I mean, it's all floodplain, and so you want it open anyway. You want
It's
to
easy
keep
for us.
trees, and yeah, it makes it easy for us. You know, it's not like the apartments where you get 35% open space and it's all built out, but you got the
So
trees.
what's this
and-
up here, this facility there, is that the tree farm?
Yeah, that's the Fossil Creek
Yeah,
nursery.
that's Tree Farm,
Okay.
and then Bailey Boswell will be connected
Yeah.
eventually.
And to the north, you're gonna be neighbors with our community, Chisholm Ridge.
Yes,
Right,
yes,
So, looks like Running River will run in there somewhat.
yeah, and then all the
Maybe.
the
Maybe.
MI Homes is all kind of down there, and I guess you guys are going to connect to MI Homes. I guess, yeah, I can see the,
Oh, yeah, it's looking like it.
yeah.
Here's something that's
That's already
expanding.
Yeah, and then all this down here, I mean, I don't think any of this will ever get developed. I think that's all in the floodplain, because I think we talked to, was it Evie who said that they got like 9 acres or something right
Yeah,
here?
they have some sort of like,
Yeah.
some sort of preservation.
Yeah, the developer sold it back to the community because they're like, we can't develop any of this, and so they were just like, you guys have it, do whatever with it. And I was like, yeah. So that's honestly, this is not very different than that, not very different at all. So Yeah, we can send.
Yeah, we'll send you the presentation.
Yeah, we can send you the presentation as
so you
well.
can like, send out to residents.
Because this will help
Oh, yeah.
people really relate to
Yeah.
where things are going in.
And we have the video. I don't know how clear our video will be. I'm recording this whole thing right now.
Our audio
They see the
is-
back of me a lot.
Yeah,
so
yeah, me
That's
too.
what that'll be for everyone. They can see the screen.
That video's
but hearing this might be better. So
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to send this out. I just don't know how high quality it's going to be. But we'll send the presentation out.
Yeah,
We're more than
and
happy
then,
to do
and
that.
then I have business cards. I know Trent does, but I do as well.
Yeah, my business cards are right here. And if any of you are interested in looking at the site that is out there right now,
Yeah.
I went in tennis shoes thinking I was going to get all muddy. There's a nice path I walked.
Yeah, yeah. I wore my work boots, and I was totally fine.
Yeah, there's a
No
nice
problem.
asphalt path going up there. So,
Yeah.
but we're more than happy to take you up there and let you look at it if you're interested.
Yeah,
Just
we
see
were.
it.
Yeah, when we visited the site, we left from the nursery and kind of walked around here, and I mean, it really is. You don't feel like you're in Fort Worth anymore. You feel like you're
That's
in
why a
the
lot of
country.
weddings and pictures were
Yeah.
taken out.
It's nice. Yeah, and then they have a nice bridge, and then you see the
Yeah.
creek, and you're just like, I don't see anything. You know, like there's nothing around. It's great. That's why they like the site.
Good.
That's
Anything
all
else,
we have.
anybody?
Any other
Yeah.
questions?
And, yeah, we're happy to stick around and answer.
We appreciate you taking your time to come
Yeah,
out
thank
here.
you guys for coming out. I know
Thank you
it's,
so much.
almost-
At least we've been able to discuss two things that have come up on our social media from all the different
Sure.
residents. So
Yeah.
we'll be able to take that back to them with responses, and we'll encourage them. We always say, we're not going to tell you whether to support it or oppose, but here's how to comment.
Yeah.
And hopefully with more information, then concerns can be diminished and bring appreciation.
And
of what you're trying to
we're
do.
meeting with Councilmember Hill tomorrow as well. So if you guys relay any messages you guys have, if,
We will.
want to, like, if you want to tell us, hey, we'll shoot straight with her.
They're ready.
We would love your support out
Yeah,
there.
of course we love that. But,
There's the ask,
yeah, we love it if you got it, but we understand. If you need to talk to the residents or you guys are personally doing it, that's fine. We're not
Well,
gonna
like I
pressure
said,
you.
we like educating on how to communicate, and and you've answered a lot of any concerns that I can see. Rusty had the concern about the bridge, but the engineering studies are going to have to bear that out. But
A lot.
yeah,
I do not envy that process at all.
Yeah, I mean, looking at A5, to do it by right, they would just jam pack homes in there in order to
Yeah.
set up the costs. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how else you're going to be able to develop it without cheaper buildings to be able
yeah.
to pay for the cost of the floodplain, building it out. I mean,
Because I think you were looking at approximately, if I heard correctly, $2 million just for the bridge.
If not more.
If
Yeah,
not-
I mean, yeah, I was like, the example I was talking about before, it was not even near as complicated as this. It was like literally a hard corner on Marine Creek and 820 if you want to look it up. It's like on the right hand side. I don't think it's been developed yet, but on Google Maps you can look at it. It's like you can just see there's like a little crack there. It was an old creek that I guess got buried or something like that.
Oh, wow.
$2 million to fix that.
Right.
Same engineers actually that they're using for this
Wow.
for the Bowler engineering.
and so they did look all over. I mean, Dallas, everywhere. I mean, they want to come to Fort Worth. This
Yeah.
is where they want to be. They don't want to be in Dallas. They don't want to be.
Which is great.
This is
It's
where they
awesome.
want to be.
We get something good for the house.
All right. I think we're
That's
good.
good.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your time. Thank you
Thank
guys
you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Yeah.